Here in case of isospin we get some implications too, like nucleon scattering, where proton plus proton scatters into deuteron and pion, then proton plus neutron scatters into deuteron and pion, then neutron plus neutron scatters into deuteron and pion. Okay, so we get the isospin in here too. When we add both of these proton, we get isospin I3 component as 1, and then deuteron has an isospin of 0, this is to be remembered, and pi plus has an isospin of 1. Okay, as we discussed earlier. Now p plus n, in both when we add I3 component of both of the cases, we get 0 and 0, 0. So 0 has two states, therefore we use this term. And deuteron has 0 isospin, and pion has pion of 0, pion of 0 charge has this isospin. And in case of neutron we get -1 as third component of isospin and 1 as isospin. Now deuteron has isospin of 0 and pion of negative charge has isospin of -1. Okay, so only the isospin of 1 contributes. So in both of the three cases we have isospin of 1, 1 and 1, and the coefficient are 1, 1 by root 2 and 1. Okay, and these coefficients are sometimes called as the amplitude. Okay, so let us see about the amplitude. So the scattering amplitudes are in ratio Ma, Mb, Mc as 1:1 by root 2:1. Now scattering cross section, cross section is actually equals to roughly equals to the square of amplitude. So this is the amplitude that we have, and when we square it we get the scattering cross section ratio. Okay, so here is this final scattering cross section ratio. Now there is one very important implication of isospin conservation which arises in strong interaction where two non-identical particles interact. Okay, so we are considering here pion nucleon scattering, and we will be looking at it in very depth. For starting, pion has isospin of 1 and nucleon has isospin of half. We get only I total as half or 3 by 2. Obviously when we sum this up we can get either half or 3 by 2. The sum is like this I1 plus I2 or I1 minus I2. Okay, so we can get half or 3 by 2. If a strong interaction depends only on isospin and not on I3, we can have only 6 pion nucleon scattering processes. Okay, because we have 3 pions and 2 nucleons, therefore we get only 6 pion nucleon scattering process. For starter, we have pi plus p scattering to pi plus p, pi minus n scattering to pi minus n. Now why are we using these two? Because pi plus has plus 1 of I3 component and proton has plus 1 by 2 of I3 component, so together they will give plus 3 by 2. And now pi minus has minus 1 of I3 component, and neutron has minus 1 by 2 of isospin I3 component, so both gives minus 3 by 2. So these two gives the respective highest value in case of isospin. Others are simply pi minus p tends to pi minus p, pi plus n tends to pi plus n, and pi minus p tends to pi 0 n, and pi plus n tends to pi 0 p. Remember, these two equations are actually scattering are very important. These two scattering are also called charge exchanging scattering. Okay, now here we have to see about some CG coefficient. Now here's the table. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6 scatterings having their CG coefficient. In case when I is equals to 3 by 2, their I3 components are 3 by 2, half, minus half and minus 3 by 2. In case of I is equals to half, I3 components are half and minus half. Okay, so these are the respective CG coefficients. Okay, so we take here only 3 cases. First case is pi plus p tends to pi plus p, which is called elastic scattering. Then pi minus p to pi minus p as elastic scattering. Pi minus p tends to pi 0, and here the charge is exchanging, so charge exchange scattering. Okay, now to remember this, I think you should remember this, that cross section area is equals to the amplitude square, or this term is actually, the MIF is actually the amplitude, or you can say the matrix element. Both of them are correct. Okay, so moving on, remember those three equations. These three equations are very important, and I will be using these three scattering equations. Okay, so please remember these or write it somewhere. Now we introduce amplitude m1 as psi final of half h1, psi initial of half, and m3 as psi final of 3 by 2 h3 and psi initial of 3 by 2. Okay, this is psi final, this is psi initial. Okay, now reaction A, what was the reaction A? This was the reaction A, pi plus P is of reaction A. So in case of reaction A, it only had I is equals to 3 by 2 and I3 is equals to 3 by 2. So we simply get the scattering as, the cross section area as k times of m3 square. Now in the next example you will be very clear that how did we get this k times of m3 square. Let's consider the second reaction. In case of the second reaction, we have pi minus p tending to pi minus p. Okay, so when we look at CG coefficient table, where is the pi minus p? Here is the pi minus p, and that is actually, so pi minus p has I3 is equals to 3 by 2 component as minus half, and I is equals to half component of minus half. Okay, so root under 1 by 3 and minus root under 2 by 3 are the components. Now reaction B can be written as, in case of the psi initial and psi final, we get this. Okay, this is actually the wave function of initial and wave function of final. Now if you remember from CG coefficient, this is actually the CG coefficient, and this is the respective isospin of this CG coefficient and third component of isospin of this coefficient. Okay, and this is actually the another coefficient which corresponds to this isospin and this third component of isospin. Okay, and in case of initial and final, since the final state from pi minus p to pi minus p both are same, so psi initial is equals to psi final. Now using this we get the cross section as k times of 1 by 3 m3 plus 2 by 3 m1 square. Now how do we get this? We have psi initial and psi final. Now let's do this psi final and psi initial. Okay, this is bra and this is ket. Okay, so when we multiply these two wave functions while converting this ket into bra, we get this term, these terms. Okay, we get this one is the first term, and this are the second term, this is the third term, and this is the fourth term. You can very well see that these two are equal, and it corresponds to isospin 3 by 2 and 3 by 2. And what does correspond to isospin 3 by 2, 3 by 2? H3. And where does H3 correspond to M3? Okay, so this will be here, and M3 will be substituted here. Okay, now for the next term, this is 3 by 2 and this is half. So in both of the cases the wave function are different, so here the orthogonality will rule and this will tend to 0. Okay, in this case half and 3 by 2, here also orthogonality will rule and it will give us 0. Now in the last case, psi of half and half are here. Okay, so what does half and half correspond to? Half and half corresponds to H1, or you can say matrix element or amplitude element M1. So we simply substitute here M1. Okay, so we get this, and as I told you that 1 by 3 m3 will be here plus 2 by 3 m1 will be here. Now this is actually just the amplitude. This is only the amplitude. Now cross section is the square of this amplitude, so we did this. And since there are some other constant terms, so we use k as a constant. Okay, now in case of c, remember this is the c term, pi minus p tending to pi 0 n. Okay, so pi minus p tending to pi 0 of n. Now initially we have pi minus p. So let us see what pi minus p has in store. Here pi minus p has root under 1 by 3 corresponding to minus half and 3 by 2. Okay, so we have root under 1 by 3 corresponding to minus half and 3 by 2. Okay, also pi minus p has minus root under 2 by 3 corresponding to minus half and half. So we have minus root under 2 by 3 corresponding to minus half and half. Now the final state is pi 0 n. Okay, so where is pi 0 n? Here it is. Pi 0 n correspond to root under 2 by 3 minus half 3 by 2. So root under 2 by 3 minus half 3 by 2, and then root under 1 by 3 minus half. So root under 1 by 3 minus half. Now we get psi initial and psi final. Now we simply convert this get into bra and we multiply it. So psi final and psi initial will be multiplied, and we get only these two factors because rest are 0 from orthogonality rule. And this 3 by 3, 3 by 2, 3 by 2 gives you m3, and this half gives you m1. So the cross section is actually root under 2 by 9 m3 minus root under 2 by 9 mi whole square. Okay, so when we do cross section of A is to cross section of B, cross section of C, we get this. Okay, I think the cross section of A is very clear. In case of A, we have only pi plus p tending to pi plus p, and pi plus p has no other component than 3 by 2, 3 by 2. Okay, so obviously psi initial and psi final are same, so when they will multiply they will give 1. Okay, now in case if m3 is very greater than m1, then we divide all of these three terms with m3. Okay, and we get 9:1:2. Now if m1 is very greater than m3, then we divide m1 square in all the three terms, so we get 0, 2, 1. Okay, so these are actually the cross section. Now experimentally what we got, that the cross section area of A is to cross section area of B plus cross section area of C is equals to 3. Now cross section area of C is actually embedded in cross section area of B. I mean, we very hardly distinguish between these two terms. So whenever we calculate, I mean we observe the cross section area of B, we assume that the cross section of area C is embedded in it. Okay, you can see from this graph pi plus p, the cross section of pi plus p is up from 190 to 200 millibarn. Okay, it's like something like millibarn. Oh, okay, and in case of pi minus p, its cross section is from 60 to 70. Okay, and this pi minus p also includes in self pi minus p tending to pi 0 of n. Okay, so it will become b plus c, and we know that when we do b plus c, I mean 1, this is of del of a, del of b and del of c. So 2 plus 1 is 3 and del a is 9. So 3 and so 9 by 3 is actually 3. So experimentally it is verified. Okay, that's all for today. Thank you.